In this episode of Highlight Sundays, we wrap up the year with some random news. Hello, welcome back to Highlight Sundays. It is the 52nd week of 2012, and here are your highlights. Our first item comes from Engadget and is entitled AWS outage brings Netflix down for some devices on Christmas Eve. Now, you would probably already have heard of this, but Netflix went down at the worst possible time. So of course today, we can sort of think about, what are some of the far-reaching impacts of stuff online. As a matter of fact, Netflix actually relies on Amazon hosting, and this hosting service is called Amazon Web Service, also known as AWS. Now, AWS is supposed to be an extremely robust system. It is supposed to be able to deal with outages in a very intelligent way. It's supposed to balance load so that things don't go crazy. However, very unfortunately, at this important conjuncture, AWS went down, and it brought Netflix down with it. The main reason why I'm bringing up this article is because, it's worth noting that AWS serves as a backbone for many services we know today. It's just interesting to note that none of the systems we have out there is really infallible. If you're interested to find out more about this, feel free to check out the link in the video description, which will bring you to this page on Engadget. Our next article comes from PC Mag, and it is entitled Infographic: The State of the Internet. It gives you an interesting insight as to who is using the internet and how. Also, some very interesting trends can be seen here. For example, there are more users in China as opposed to the USA. Also, the largest connected smartphone operating system is actually the Android operating system, not iOS. This is actually a pretty surprising trend, especially if you remember the article I showed you some weeks back. Apple products actually had more than half of the market share. However, when taking a look at how many of these devices are actually connected to the net, surprisingly, Android comes out on top. So do check out this article if you're interested to see how people and applications are actually moving in the entire year of 2012. Our next article is a very generic one from Gizmodo. It is entitled 40 Tricks You Should Know for a Much Better 2013. As its name implies, it is a pretty interesting collection of tips and tricks. In fact, 40 of them for use around the house. A few of them are quite interesting. I didn't actually know things could work this way. For example, one of my favorite ones is, if you have any wooden furniture that's actually suffered from dings and scratches, apparently what you can do is you can actually grab a walnut and use it like an eraser to actually remove the scratches. Who knew? Wow. So do check out this article from Gizmodo. It is a very interesting read, and I believe at least a few of them should be applicable in day-to-day life. Now, in the past couple of episodes, we have put great emphasis on a particular topic, which I haven't covered at all today. I am of course talking about Instagram. In case you didn't know, there has been a giant hoo-ha about their recent proposed policy changes. However, after Instagram sort of apologized for what they plan to do, the dust seems to have kind of settled a little bit. However, in situations such as this, you can always rely on someone to stir it back up. This next article comes from PC Mag, and it is entitled Instagram Hit with Class Action Suit Over Proposed Changes. In particular, one brave member of the public has actually taken it upon herself to take Instagram to court. This lady, Lucy Funes, is actually going to take Instagram to court on account of a breach of contract. Of course, Facebook and Instagram has expressed that they will of course hit back. It is of course an individual versus a corporation, which is why things might get a little ugly. However, at the same time, the courage of this person really deserves admiration. If this lawsuit is actually won, consumers as a whole have a great step ahead. And of course it proves that, consumers do have a say in this sort of stuff. I am very interested to see where this goes, and hopefully at the end of the day, a good and fair conclusion can be reached. That's basically all there is for this episode of Highlight Sundays. With regard to vlog segments, I do really want to wrap up the year. However, I have too many things to say to squeeze it into the end of the Highlight Sundays episode, which is why I will be shooting a different video for posting out later this week. Also, we are wrapping up the Sorting Algorithms Redux series. On Monday, you will be seeing the last episode, which is the wrap-up episode, and of course, we will call it a day for this series. Unless of course there is reasonable demand for me to bring back various things or to cover things in greater detail, I will try to leave this series a little bit more open-ended so that if anything else comes up, I can still add a new video at the end. But of course I will talk more about this in greater detail on Monday, so stay tuned for the wrap-up video on Monday. Also stay tuned later this week for my New Year's video. My plan is it will come out on Tuesday, that is the 1st of January, but we will see how that goes. So that basically wraps it up for this episode of Highlight Sundays. If you have any comments, queries or suggestions, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. If you like this video, I appreciate every like, favorite and subscription you give me. Until next time, you are watching 0612 TV.